Hey everyone, this is part three of the American Indian Mason Exposed. Again, as you guys can see, these Masonic Indians are wearing their occultic headgear. Their occultic, a lot of them are wearing pentagrams around their neck. Some will have crescent moons. A lot of them, some of them have wands, just their feathers. But anyways, the Indian Masonic degree team is a band of brothers and summarizing the role of Masonry. And real quick, this is from the California Freemason website. And the one thing I find interesting about the state of California, it's one of the most occultic, cursed states there is, just next to New Orleans. But they have the most Masonic lodges with, I think it said over 400 Masonic lodges in the state of California. And the next closest is like 60 for the state. I think it's like Arizona that has 60. So that's crazy to have that many Masonic lodges and that many more than any other state. Absolutely crazy. But as you can see, because they have all these different Native American lodges and all this other stuff, in summarizing the role of Masonry in Native American history, there's a tendency to simplify. In her book, Native American Freemasonry, Associatism and Performance in America, Joy Porter points to the seemingly endless supply of stories from the former American frontier in which a white soldier is saved from imminent death by flashing a Masonic sign to a Native American attacker, citing the Masonic writer. She writes, such stories were so plentiful that if you had not crossed the western plains without being assaulted by Indians, given a Masonic distress sign, and finally saved you, you were the exception to the rule. In repeating these mytho-historic facts, Masonic historians have presented Masonry as a crucial instrument in smoothing relations between the white and Native Americans in the 19th century, not to mention between the warring factions in the Indian territories. And look at these two occultic members dressed all up in their occultic gear with their prideful egotistical faces. It says a member of the Oklahoma Masonic Indian degree team at a ceremony in Grapevine, Texas with the Grand Master of Texas in 2022. That's certainly the case when it comes to the Oklahoma Indian Masonic degree team. While it's true that Masonry's particular role in Indian Anglo relations has perhaps been romanticized in certain retellings, it is also true that the Native American Masonry has a long and distinguished history, particularly in places like Oklahoma, where Masonic lodges have played an instrumental role with Native communities for more than 150 years. In 1909, the Grand Lodges of the Indian Territories and the state of Oklahoma merged into one. Many of the most this is what I tell you guys in part two. Just like I told you in part two about how, many times they would go to war and you would have a captain, a general, whatever, a lieutenant, and they would flash a certain Masonic hand sign, a certain gesture, maybe show a certain badge, whatever, and these people would not fire at each other. On ships, smoke signs, light signals. There's certain signs that one Mason would give to another Mason so they would not fire upon each other. But they had no problem killing a non-Mason. It's absolutely, of course, they take oaths to protect, their brother Mason at all costs. So it should not be, people should not be surprised. Again, Freemasonry knows no bounds. That's why in every city, in every country, in every state, in every city, there's a Masonic lodge, most likely several Masonic lodges, and then a lot of other places that are Masonic lodges, disguised Masonic lodges like Elks Clubs, Eagles Clubs, and whatnot. So let's finish. Many of the most influential Native leaders belonged to local lodges. Again, the whole thing with where they sent all the Indians off to the reservations and they so-called starved the Indians when really the people that was starving the Indians was the Indians at the top, the Freemason Indians, the the ones at the top. They were in charge of the rations, giving out the rations, and many of them were crooked and they take it all for themselves. And meanwhile, so the reservation would starve, and of course that was on purpose because these Masons, these occultists, these devils, they have all their You know, these things planned out long, long in advance. And again, all the world's a stage. That's why the only people you hear about told about are like Wild Bill Hickok and Sitting Bull and, you know, all these types of, um, famous Indians. That's all you hear about, or famous, you know, famous cowboys or whatever. It's because they're wild earp or whatever, you know. It's because they're Freemasons, okay? And it's stories. They're not telling you the truth. Most of everything you guys we've been told is a lie. Okay? They don't tell us the truth. And all the leaders are belong to lodges, and through those lodges help establish colleges, charities, and other enduring civic institutions. They always hide behind their good works, right? Always, just like the Shriners in their hospitals. Writes Porter, examining Indian Masonic fraternal relationships tends to paint a picture of, if not rosy, cooperation, then at least genuine and mutually enabling interaction. Reading Masonic records, we get a positive picture of inter-ethnic brotherhood, providing a basis for growth in the West. These days, Native influence on Masonic life in the region is practically ubiquitous, as many lodges retain names associated with tribes and feature significant Native American membership. Nowhere is that more evidence than through the Oklahoma Masonic Indian Degree Team, an inter-lodge club formed in the 1960s that states degree exemplifications while dressed in tribal regalia and incorporating elements of the Native American dance, songs, and prayer in a Masonic ritual. California Freemason spokesman David Dill, currently the secretary of the degree team and member of the Kadawa number 251, about preserving that cultural history through Masonry. There's a history of Native American Masonry in Oklahoma. It is that something you are trying to consistently acknowledge through the Indian degree team. Anyways, you guys can see, and every time that I tried to record this video, it changed like that. I'm glad that I got through it before it did that. I'm going to jump right here to here. We're going to go all the way down to the very bottom. Again, as you guys can see, the square and compass with the feathers there. This is the Native American Freemason Facebook website, and they got the G in the middle. Again, the G is 33 in numerology. The eagle and the eagle feather medicine. Again, right here you got the all-seeing eye right there with the turtle, and you got the Mother Earth worship with the sun and the moon. Right here you got Joseph Brant, Freemason, fellow Indian Freemason. As you can see, he's got the crescent moon dangling around his neck. This right here is at the very, very top. It's their cover photo. It's again the square and compass made out of beads, as you can see. Gavel, when he says "when I was a master," for whoever's running the website, with a feather in the middle. Again, the old right there, as you guys can see, the right at the bottom right there. There are, of course, every Mason wears them to cover their phallic. Again, you got the arrowhead with the Mason, and I can show you these pictures in a minute. Right here you got the G. If you guys can see the top picture to the right there with the G. Again, I've explained before what the 33 means, or what the G means. And I've showed this before, by the way, guys. So, this apron. I've showed the apron before. And again, as you can see, all these prideful, arrogant, egotistical occultists that think their good works are going to get them to heaven. You can see right there the square and compass right there on that arrowhead. As you can see, I'm not sure if you can see in the middle picture, it says 333. Again, I'll show you the pictures in a minute because I had to screenshot them because this whole website or whatever this thing is really, really goofy. Again, says really good read for those looking for more information. Joy Porter, American Native Indian, Oklahoma Masonic Indian degree team. Again, the square and compass with the like Indian chief's head up top, and got the G in the middle, square and compass. Absolutely ridiculous. Look, eagle feathers now on hand for oaths at the Ottawa courthouse. What does the Bible say? Take no oath. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Wow. Unreal. But that's what that's what they do. Blatant occultism, backwards of the Bible. Everything is opposite of the Bible. And it's just slapping everybody's face. Again, it says Nansmond Indian Nation, category Masonry. As you can see, these and doing their little war dance. I mean, just look at them. Occultic as it can get. So, we are hiring, yeah, I bet. Satan's always hiring. Again, the George Washington Masonic National Memorial, Grand Lodge of Ancient and Accepted Masons, and what do you see there? Again, an Indian and a so-called, whatever I guess they would call a white man. So, and that was when the lodges merged for the state of Oklahoma in 1909. The book from part 2 is, in case you guys, I think I told you guys it was called American Indian Freemasonry by Arthur Coswell Parker, who was a 32-degree Freemason. Again, Proceedings of the Most Worshipful Grand Lodge of the Indian Territory. So at this point, there's no doubt that there absolutely are Indians and Masons, Mormons and Masons. And it says, I believe the faithfulness of the Church of Jesus Christ, blah, 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 blah. But what do you see right there in the picture? You see Indians and Joseph Smith and Masons, of course. And right there, again, as you guys can see right there, the Lodge 420 right there with the... Oh, well, you guys can see what it is. I don't have to describe what it is. Again, like I said, they were involved in the cult. Navajo witchcraft. Okay, these people not only were Freemasons, but they're involved in the occult. Native American Freemasonry. Right here. The Native American Indian Freemasonry developed along regional or tribal Pacific lines that reflected the course of European American intrusion, namely the Northeast, especially among the Iroquois in the Southeast, continued in the Indian Territory after removal, and in the Great Lakes area in the Northeast. It was an important means of power play for Native leaders in the revolutionary areas such as Joseph Brant, and which you guys can see in 1743. We're talking about American Indians, so it runs back long time, long time before the founding fathers, so-called, even founded America. In the 19th century, Ellis S. Parker. It is, anyways. You guys can read. You guys can read some of that if you want. And it says let me see. It played a very potent role within Indian Territories politics. Many key Indian political figures of the late 19th and early 20th century, all being Masons in good standing. By 1848, there was a regular lodge of the Cherokee Indians in Oklahoma. So again, that's just a little expert from the Native American Indian Freemasonry and its relation to the performative turn within the contemporary American scholarship. And then witchcraft and sorcery of the American native Pueblos. So just to show you guys Yes, they absolutely, you know, practice witchcraft, sorcery, the occult.